Well, my friends, this is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam, and guess what? I'm back with another how-to. How-to. Something that came about because when I get questions, I usually answer people as quick as I can because I like to answer people right away. But then I thought, you know what? If I put it in video form, I could reach more people who follow me and answer their questions right away. And then they would have it so that they could go to it anytime they needed to. So the question I got asked a lot, we just finished a series, knitting sweaters top down and bottom up. Well, on the bottom up sweater, when we knit the sweater, we got up and we didn't, it just really is more like a vest. And I guess as soon as the weather changed, more people said, Jay, is there a way we can put sleeves? Can we add sleeves? So I thought, well, yes we can. And this is Jay's Afterthought Sleeve. I'm going to show you how to do my how to add an afterthought sleeve. In other words, we had already finished the vest. And then later on down the road or, a little while later, you decide, you know what, I think I'd like to have sleeves. So I'm going to give you some great information, a great hack, a great tip, just some great how-to information. And this way, everyone can enjoy and use it whenever you want. All right, let's take a look at the sweater that we just finished. This was the bottom up sweater. I'll move my little flower right there. All right, so right off the bat, I'll turn it to the other side first. Let's see if I'm on camera. Here is when I left and we had finished the sweater. Most of you had this nice little, like vest style, Lands' End type little, just a nice little sweater. We were concentrating on other things more than anything. Just how to knit bottom up and how to measure and neck and how to get the front, get that little extra in the front. So there was a lot going on and that we accomplished on this sweater. But now, let me show you. I'll turn it back. But this is what most people, the question that came in from a lot of, let's see, can I move it over? Jay, can you show us how to add, is it possible to add a sleeve after we have worked it? And here is the sleeve that I am going to share with you, show you, and tell you why this is a good sleeve to know, to learn for any project that you have. See? Just really nice. All right, let me get some things together and lay it out, and we'll get started. All right, before we get started, let me just share with you why I think this is a great sleeve. First of all, it's going to be easy to do and easy to remember because it's simply the 1x1 rib stitch. So somewhere in this sweater, we have done some 1x1 ribbing here at the neckband or on the bottom of the sweater. So you're already in that mode and you already know exactly how to work that simple stitch. The next thing is why it's so great, because you don't need any decreases to make the sleeve fit you and give you a good fit, because ribbing, just the nature of the stitch, it pulls in. So this sleeve already has its own, it's just forming its own contour of an arm or it's pulling in so that it fits your arm. And then at the very end, if you have enough yarn or whatever, or if you want your sleeve long enough, I left this one so I can show you how to do the bind off. But you can simply, look, you can have it straight, just the cuff straight down. We don't have to do any kind of extra cuff or extra ribbing, or you can roll it up and the ribbon makes the cuff also. Now how nice is that? All this from one stitch, and simple to knit, pretty to wear, it fits nice, and the main thing is that, of course, like I say, you may have worn the sweater, you may have, and then you come back later and decide, I think I'd like a sleeve in this, I wonder. So, it's an afterthought, so I'm calling this Jay's How to Add the Afterthought Sleeve. And the best sleeve so far that I've found is to just do your sleeve in the 1x1 ribbing all the way to the very end or the cuff where you want to stop. Now, how easy is that? There it is. Now, I will come back sooner or later and wear it on camera. Let's see if I can just stick my arm in here just so you can get a kind of a view of it. Look at that. Is this on camera? Let's see. Oh, yeah, that looks really... That's just giving you an idea of how it looks. See that? All right. Only thing better than that is, let me show you how easy it is to knit this afterthought sleeve on your sweater too. All right. Let me get my yarn. You will need your number 9 16-inch needles so that we can pick up stitches on this. I'm going to pick them up on this in the arm space. All right, back in just a minute. All right, I have my needles, number 9, 16 inches in length to work so I can pick up the stitches around the arm space. And then, of course, I have some of the leftover yarn. Now, hopefully that your arm space is not, that you didn't make it so small, that it may give problems to pick it up. Now, for instance, you kind of have an idea of what sleeve count you normally would put on a sweater. I normally use 60. It's just a nice even number. Smaller arms you might be at 56, or larger arms you might be at 68 or 64, 68. But anyway, because it's not all the way up, this sleeve we're picking up, this sleeve is just a little above the elbow. So you don't need a large, a lot of stitches, but you will not be able to make the full number that you would normally pick up because we have already sewn the sleeve up. This is why I'm calling it the afterthought. You've already sewn it up. See how everything is sewn, and then here it is weeks later, a month later, I decide, you know what, I'm going to put sleeves in here because you asked. And then I had to think, well, which would be the best sleeve? And this sleeve is, I think, the best. You're going to need a stitch marker so we can mark the beginning of the round when we get to it. So just kind of lay that there so I can find it. I take my yarn, very simple. I come down here at the very point where it's sewn together, where you have the seam. I want to go right in as close to that seam as possible. And try to go up under 2 strands. Just like that. And then I'm just going to loop my yarn over that and pull it through so that I have a loop on my needle. I've got now, and be sure to go ahead and leave a tail, leave a nice sized tail. So now I'm holding the yarn and the tail, and I'm just going to, this is so good because right in between each one of my little bumps, I knit the first and last stitch. So it leaves this little gap between those bumps. And if I go up under, right in that space right there, this is dark yarn to see, but I'm trying to pull it close. If I go right in there and then knit that stitch in like that, I'm just holding both strands, then I'm going to drop the tail. I just wanted to lock that tail in. Pull it. Now watch. There's a little bump right there. We'll skip the bump and go in up under that nice little space in between the bumps. So let's see how many we can pick up. How close I can get to my normal stitch count, which is 60, but I know I'm not going to make it all the way because I didn't make it on another sleeve. In fact, I have to make this one match. I did about, let's see, 50 something. I wrote it down, but let's just go ahead and just go around and show you all I'm doing. There's 2 bumps there because I knit and purl. I knit the first and last stitch, and it leaves a little gap, little space right there. So that's where I can put my needle in without any problems under 2 strands. And I can pick up every one. You want to pick up every one. Just like this, see? Right between those 2 little bumps. And I'm just going to take my time. You want to try to get in there and get as many as you can. Pull it open so that you can see. Open it up. Here's one there. Pull it up so you can see between the 2 bumps. There, let me pull it on up as I work my way up and around. Can you see that? All right, now let's stop and just kind of spread them out a little bit. See? They fit in that little space, that little gap. All right, let me work around and I'll get back, and then I'll see you as we work our way around. Take your time as we get back to where the seam right here. All right, and then we'll count and see what we need to do, if we need to increase or decrease to make a good stitch count. All right, back in just a moment. All right, so I've picked up my stitches, and so I want to give you a good tip right here. This is another good tip, especially for this Afterthought sleeve. Instead of working one sleeve like I did, what you want to do is pick up the first sleeve on your needles and, pick them up just like I just shared. Then stop. Then come and get another set of needles and pick up the second sleeve. This way you can kind of get them to match up a little better or a little quicker and not have to try to decrease or, try to put stitches in or take stitches out. If as you pick up stitches on one sleeve, you see how many you have. So mine came out to 52. So I had 52 on the one that's already finished. But just say if something went wrong over here. All right. But if I had, I didn't, like I said, I didn't realize how I was going to record this and everything. So next time I will have 2 needles. I will pick up the 2 sleeves or 2 arm spaces at the same time. Then I can just kind of compare them and try to get them to the same number. So now I am ready. I have picked up and I've got them to match. 52 on one sleeve and 52 on this one, or one arm space. All right, so now I'm at the center seam. Can you see that? And I want to put my marker. We don't have any decreases or anything to do like in our other sweater because the ribbing is going to do all of that for us. Now all we have to do is start out. I knit and let me get some yarn up. I don't want to stop. Once I get started, I want to make sure I have enough. All right, so once I start with, I knit a stitch, yarning back, then bring my yarn to the front, and purl. See, we start right out. I didn't just say I didn't even have to, since if you were working both, if you picked up your stitches on 2 different needles at the same time and you got the count right, they match, you don't have to do an extra row or something. And like I said, we don't have to do any kind of increases. So yarn in the back, I knit. Then yarn in front, I purl. Back, knit. Kind of push them around. Yarn in front, then I'm going to purl the next stitch. Yarn in back, and this is all you're going to do. As long as you can do it and watch TV and not make any mistakes, it's great TV watching. I'll do a few more just to make sure I have them locked in. Alright, then the last stitch I did was a knit, so yarn in front, I do a purl, then yarn in back, I knit. And you might say, oh, well, Jay, how come we didn't put one stitch? We're doing the one by one. Because we're working in the round, so you want to have an even number. I guess I should have said that. So 52 worked out fine. So 52, 54, 56, or whatever the number is. Try to make sure that your number is even when we're working the one by one rib stitch in the round. We don't need the odd number. It's when we're working it flat that I like the odd number, so that I have those two edge stitches. Alright, so you just keep going. Let's see, purl, knit. Just read your stitches if you kind of lose your place. Okay, purl. So now I go back to a knit. And this is all there is. So now let me jump over here and pull the one that I've already worked, because that's all you're going to do until you get all the way around. Till you come all the way around, and then you will, we started with the knit stitch here on that side of the marker. Remember, I had put the marker, then I knit one, purl one. Alright, then you should end with a purl stitch on this side of the marker so that two knit stitches don't come together. So I knit, then purl, slide the marker, start the next round. Knit, purl, just like that. Now let me go over here and let me bring this sleeve back and tell you. So now you've got a lot of work. It's simple work, but I took this one all the way down, tried to get it as long as I could. I'm not sure. I may have to go get another skein of yarn if I can match it up from over at Joann's. This was just some throwaway yarn. This is yarn I'm trying to get out of my stash. It made great practice, and but I'm telling you, if you don't start using this yarn, you cannot, it's just hard to match it years later. You know, I've had this yarn for years. But anyway, so I was looking at looked like it was about 16 inches or so. Maybe, yeah, because I wanted it long enough on this one to go down instead of where I normally wear it. I thought this would be nice to be able to come down and then roll back a little cuff, like you saw me when I stuck my arm in there. So know that you've got a long way to go. Going, just working the one by one rib in the round. But I am telling you, it is the perfect afterthought sleeve. It will, you probably can fit it into anything you might want to give it put it in or give a try. So now let me think, there's what else I need to show you. So now let's just go here to this part since I have this sleeve out. So now I've worked all the way around, and I didn't think to leave this one. I had already bound off. So, you know, I was getting tired. I'd been up. But I bound off, and you bind off in pattern. We have done that before. You bind off in the pattern, just like we did on the neckline. And those that... when I left, I was still working on my neck, but you can see how it opened up. I'll lay it out in just a minute. But you had to bind off in pattern. That means you read the stitches, and then if it says you start with a knit stitch, say, knit one, and then yarn in front, purl one, reach back and bind off. The next stitch, a knit stitch, knit that stitch, reach back and bind off. Yarn back in front, purl a stitch. Okay, then reach back and bind off. That's how you just bind off in the same one by one rib pattern. Something that you'll just, you know, you're going to get used to it. The more you do it, the easier to get. And then, of course, when you get through binding off after all these inches, now, like I said, I went about, my arms are short, so it maybe 16, maybe it went a little over 16 inches. And then, because like I said, I wanted a cuff, you can stop wherever you want, or if you run out of yarn, as long as you can make each sleeve. So then you'll get your yarn needle once you bind off all your stitches, and now you come back over here and you have that little step down. It just happens in knitting, because we're not knitting really in the round, we're knitting in a spiral. So you always have one side that's going to be a little bit taller than the side here. So again, you just take your needle, take the tail that you left, go up under 2 strands, pull it. And I said before, I think I said go up under 2, but really once you close that little gap, go up under the back strand, just like that. I remembered, I just kind of, and then don't over pull it, but now you see how they line up now. Looks real nice. Then I rolled or turned it to the inside, and I just start whip stitching right along one of these little rows of stitches where I was doing no ribbing. So I just whip stitch up, up, just like this. I like to go up quite a few stitches and then come back down to lock it in. See, now I'll go up and then you can come back down, or you can go on the other side and come down on that other side, on the opposite side. But as long as you come back down, and then you can cut that yarn, because it's going to be a cuff. And of course, you know, make sure it's really, that you really have it good, because when you turn it up, you're going to be able to see that. And I'll cut that in just a minute. But and it makes a beautiful cuff. You saw me stick my arm in it. And let me show you this, what I'm trying to get to. I want it on this video. So now, you have worked, we're pretending, you have worked both sleeves. You have them about the same number, you have the same number of stitches, and hopefully about the same length. You know, you just have to do the best you can and measure on this. There was no other way. I couldn't count anything. So you have them laying out. So now, the next best thing that I found to do is to take it to my ironing board and just steam it. Steam it and try to pull or relax the ribbing just a bit. You don't overdo it. Depends on what your fabric is made out of, what your yarn content is made out of. You know, for if it was wool, then you can wet block it and just block your sleeves out a little bit, or put in, maybe there's some cardboard or something that you can slide up into the sleeve just to open it out. But this was just some acrylic, because it's just from my stash. So I simply took it to my ironing board. I laid it out like this. I steamed one section at a time, and then I just took my hands and I opened it up just a little bit, let it cool, moved it a little bit more, went down again. Shh, shh. You see that, bird? Shh. And then open it up. Yeah, see, like that. Yeah, open it up, bird, like that. See, just kind of give, because since it's in the round and we're really working a spiral, like I said, it could have a little bias to it. You know how sometimes it might look a little twisted. Well, this way you can kind of get that out. You can kind of shh, and then pull it open. I'd even hold it for a second or two. Just hold it. Just hold your hand on it till it cools back down for this plain yarn. And then shh. And then that will help alleviate any kind of really bias or anything, especially if you are a tight knitter. I'm a nice loose knitter, I think. I think I'm a loose knitter. But you can open it up, steam it, and especially up here where it's joined, right here up under that area, steam it, and then turn it over and work on this side. Go ahead and relax this side of the sleeve also. Shh. Just kind of You don't have to overdo it. You just want to do some to relax it. And make sure there's no twist or bias look in your... You see how I can just open it up? And then, of course, you can roll back your cuff and all of that. You don't have to steam that. And that, my friend, let me turn it back to the right side. I'm so happy that you asked, because I am excited that I was able to really think about it and come up with a great solution, one that is going to last. It's not like a one-hit wonder. This will be a sleeve that I will be able to use. You will be able to come back, find it anytime. You will be able to use it. I will be able to use it on other projects. I can always say now, we can, if we just do the vest part and don't have time to get it all done, I can always say, go and check out or go back and look at the Afterthought sleeve. And you get that beautiful, and it's going to have a nice, it just fits so good because the ribbon pulls in, but we didn't do any decreasing. It just did it on its own. It just does it on its own, and it just makes the sweater feel so pretty. Even this just plain everyday yarn. Well, let me see. I'm trying. So now I've got to work on this, and keep working on it so I can wear it on camera. Here's the neck. The neck worked out really great. Nice, roomy. And I don't know if I'm going to put any fake buttons on here or not. I don't think it needs any dummy buttons. This is a more of a sporty type little sweater. You can just wear over your jeans or whatever, or I can wear it over my even on my sweatpants, whatever. Well, I hope this has kind of inspired you, or will inspire you to go ahead and look through maybe some of the other sweaters we've made or something, and give this a try. Like I said, the hardest thing is if you don't have any yarn, to try to match up some yarn that you could, maybe some kind of neutral color, but there's all possibilities now that you have a go-to sleeve, and that's what I wanted. So this is Jay's how to add the Afterthought sleeve, and I am so glad that you asked the question, and I had to really get busy, and I think I came up with a perfect answer. So this is Jay. This is Jay's new how-to section that I will be trying to do more of as we go along, but I will also go back to some of my old tutorials, as I've said before, and try to find some of the best information that I can isolate and put it in one of my how-to feature videos. So I want to wish all my friends, everyone, everywhere, every size, happy knitting. And I hope this how-to will help you too. So until next time, bye-bye.